top secret military keycard and hop on your motorcycle for Return of the Living Dead Part 3. I guess my generic intro template can't work all of the time. I know what you're thinking. 2 zombie movies, 2 episodes in a row? Well, hear me out. It's spring, therefore the season for Easter, and what better way than to celebrate than by dead things coming back to life. Starring Melinda Days of Our Lives Clark, J. Trevor Pumpkinhead 2 Edmund, and Kent Galactica McCord. Return of the Living Dead Part 3 is a teenage love story with a gory backdrop. So what's this movie about? Let's swipe that keycard to find out. Oh, I'll tell you what it's about. It's about a movie that wouldn't have happened if a scientist knew to keep his damn hands out of a zombie's mouth. It's a movie that wouldn't have happened if a father and son could properly communicate. It's a movie about a punk rock girlfriend that's too damn edgy for her own good. So anyways, 90s babe Julie Walker convinces her boyfriend Kurt to steal his dad's security clearance keycard and to sneak into a military base to see what's going on. Kurt and Julie witness some weird science that tragically escalates when the military revives a corpse using 2,4,5-trioxin gas. This is more than enough mad science, freakish horror vibes that creep the teens out, so they head back to Kurt's place to bang one out before Kurt's dad gets home. Upon Kurt's father's arrival, the two get into an argument which leads to Kurt and Julie speeding away on their motorcycle, only to get into an accident due to Julie getting too handsy. Kurt comes to find Julie dead from the crash and the keycard laying right next to her. Light bulbs go off in Kurt's head and he thinks, I wonder if that zombie gas will work on my girlfriend. Kurt takes Julie back to the lab and introduces her to the gas, and it works. However, they accidentally let out some other specimens in the process. The rest of the movie has the two lovers on the run as they leave a path of terror in their wake. Return of the Living Dead Part 3 might not have the quantity of zombies we see pictured in previous films, however, it makes up for it in zombie quality. This movie has a death count of 17, but of those 17, there are some disturbing standout zombies. Let's start with Julie. It was bold to make a main character a zombie in itself. Brian Yunza was disappointed in the lack of screen time his female monster had in Bride of Reanimator, so this could be why. I could see Fairuza Balk playing this role, but Melinda Clarke killed it by the final scenes. Julie is wearing more metal than clothes. Normally vampires are the cryptids being sexualized, but in this case, I guess zombies can be hot too. Next we have the Riverman, who was a simple man just living in the sewers until he got tangled up with Kurt and Julie's wild white people bullshit. Now he's a tank of a bioweapon encased in a metal exoskeleton. We can't forget about the gang leader Santos. He definitely would stand out in a crowd. With his spine pulled out from his neck and his head sways back and forth like a snake. Ooh. Then there's the test subject zombie, who's the first zombie we initially see on screen and looks like he shares a bloodline with the White Walkers. Last but not least is what I'm deeming as the Bandersnatch zombie. While this zombie doesn't have a Stretch Armstrong arm, it does resemble the creeps from Resident Evil Code Veronica. This zombie is horrifying and cackles like a hyena. Its head is smashed into its shoulder and becomes more disfigured when it splits open. It's this fella and the original Tar Man that put zombies on my fear radar as a kid. This movie doesn't have a ton of different sets or locations, but it's okay, the story doesn't require that. This allowed the production to focus the budget on the military lab, which looks fucking awesome. There's also a decent chunk set in the sewers, and outside of a continuity issue or two, they look, well, how you'd expect. The military has upped their gear game. Now they carry fancy pneumatic cryo guns. It ups the sci-fi factor a bit, and it's probably my biggest excuse as to why we're covering Return of the Living Dead Part 3 on Airlock Shock today. This movie is filled with 90s edginess, self-harm, and trivia, baby. An entire production day's worth of shooting was all lost, all because the camera assistants failed to check the gates on the camera. Brian Peck is the only actor to appear in the first 3 Return of the Living Dead movies. Half of this movie's production was shot in the Santa Clarita production studio, while Melrose Place was being filmed right next door. Paul Ant-Man Rudd initially auditioned for the role of Kurt Reynolds. Tim Ralston designed the metal exoskeleton for the Riverman. That puppy weighed over 75 pounds. The car driven by Santos is a 1972 Ford Gran Torino, and Kurt's motorcycle is a Honda CB 750. In the original screenplay, the final showdown was supposed to be zombies versus the military in a graveyard. If you've watched the film, well, we can safely say it doesn't end like that. Thanks for tuning in to Airlock Shock. If you've enjoyed today's content, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment in that 245 trioxin barrel tank thingy. It works, just leave us a comment. Tune into our sister series, Tape Tomb, with Larry Downs. He's constantly adding new tapes to the tomb. I'm Nick Haskin of Nightmare Fuel Streaming, and until next time, stay spacey, friends.